Hello class 10th. Hope you all are good. Now today we will continue chapter number 7, that is your circulatory system. Now in previous video we have already discussed about the different types of fluids present in our body, right, and about the plasma and RBCs and WBCs. Now today we will discuss about the blood platelets, their function, and how blood platelets help in blood clotting. Now next we will discuss about the structure of heart. Okay, let's discuss first blood platelets. Okay, now next is your blood platelets, or they are also called thrombocytes. They are also known as, they actually help in blood clotting. They are the initiators of blood clotting. They are non-nucleated, means without nucleus, minute, oval in shape, which floats in the blood. And they are their number is from 2 lakh to 4 lakh per cubic centimeter of blood in adults. The lifespan of blood platelets is about 3 to 5 days and are destroyed in spleen. Now all of you know what is the lifespan of RBCs, that is your 120 days, and what is the lifespan of leukocytes, that is your WBCs, that is your only 1 week. Now they are derived they are produced in from giant cells, what they are called megakaryocytes in red bone marrow, from which it is budded off with intact membrane surrounding it. Now at the site of injury, these blood platelets, they disintegrate and then they release a chemical, what is it called, thrombokinase, and which help in blood clotting. So in this way they help in blood clotting, right? Now blood clotting or coagulation of blood is of a great biological value for the survival of animals. When a blood vessel is injured or cut, a blood clot forms at the site of injury, and this acts as a plug, thereby sealing the ruptured blood vessel, and it stop bleeding and prevent loss of vital body fluid. Decrease in capacity of the blood to clot leads to profuse and fatal hemorrhages, and even if the injury is slight. So it has a great value, biological value, for the survival of the animals. Okay, now next is your mechanism of blood clotting. There is a first step. At the site of injury, thrombokinase, which are also called thromboplastin, is released by the disintegration of blood platelets and injured tissue cells. Now then these thrombokinase, which acts as an enzyme, and calcium ions which are present in the plasma, they convert inactive plasma protein, that is called prothrombin, into active form, which is called thrombin. Now, and this activity needs what? Calcium ions and some plasma factors. Now third step is your, now plasma protein, which is called what? Fibrinogen, is now converted into insoluble protein, which is called fibrin, and with the help of thrombin, and by the polymerization the fibrin protein forms long fibrin threads, and then these fibrin threads form a very fine network at the site of injury and form a clot. In this way, what's happened? This clot is formed. Okay, now next is your blood groups and blood transfusion. All of you know that sometimes what's happened, if suppose it becomes necessary to give transfusion of blood to a patient who has a severe blood loss due to any reason, and this is called what? Blood transfusion. And for that, what's happened, all of you know that every person, that different person, they have a different type blood type, right? So there are actually the Karl Landsteiner, he was the first one who discovered that the blood of individuals, they differed chemically, and on the basis of that, now there are two main blood groups are there. First is called ABO system and second is your RH system. In ABO system, there are 4 types of blood groups are there: A, blood group B, blood group AB, and blood group O. Blood group O is called universal donor because he can donate blood to O, A, B, and AB. And blood group AB is called universal recipient because he can receive blood from blood group AB, A, B, and O. right? But the blood group A can receive blood only from A and O, while the blood group B can receive blood from B and O. Now next system is your RH system. Actually RH, after the discovery of RH factor, and it was actually first discovered in our common in rhesus monkey, and this RH factor is found in 85% of the white population and 93% of Indian population. Actually, a person is said to be RH positive if its RBCs contain RH antigen and RH negative if he has no RH antigen on his RBCs, right? Okay, now if the blood of RH positive individual is transfused to the RH negative individual, then it get sensitized within 2 weeks and develop antibodies. Now this time it has no any effect, right? But at the time of second transfusion to this RH negative individual, it results in severe reaction and ultimately lead to the death of RH negative person. Okay, now next is the human heart. The human heart is a reddish brown pustule pumping center. It pumps and collects blood to and from the various body parts. It is of the size of human closed fist. When you just close your fist, this is the size of your heart. It weighs about 300 grams and it is a broad conical structure. Upper side of heart is broad and now but it is called base, and the lower pointed side is called apex. Okay, now next is your location and protection. The heart is present right in the center, not on the left side. It is felt so. All of just you feel that your heart is on left side, but it is not on left side. Actually, it is present right in the center between the two lungs in the thoracic cavity above the diaphragm. It is well protected by the bones that forms thoracic cage. Actually, thoracic cage is formed by your rib cage and sternum. Now the heart is present obliquely so that the broad base is directed to upwards, forwards and slightly towards right side. Whereas the narrow end, that is your apex part of the heart, is roughly triangular heart is pointed to the left side. During working, the contraction of the heart is more powerful at this apex part and giving feeling that the heart is on the left side. Moreover, the heart is covered by two layered sac. Like means your heart is covered with two membrane, and these membranes are collectively called pericardium. Now the outer one is called visceral layer of pericardium and the inner one is called visceral layer of pericardium and the outer one is called parietal layer of pericardium. In between these two layers, a space is there. That space is called pericardial cavity, which is filled with a fluid that is called pericardial fluid. Now, what is the function of that pericardial fluid? It protects the heart from any kind of mechanical injury and shock. This pericardial fluid keeps the tissues of the heart moist for proper functioning, and it acts as a lubricant and reduce the friction for the beating of heart. Right, now next is your structure of human heart. The heart is hollow, highly muscular, highly specialized blood vessels. It undergoes rhythmic beating, and now the heart is consist of 4 chambers. First is your right atrium and left atrium and right ventricle and left ventricle. And these right and left atrium are called collectively auricles. And the auricles are very thin walled chambers as they are to push the blood into ventricles, which is present just below them. And the ventricles, these are broad at the upper end but tapers towards the apex. The ventricles are very thick walled chambers, but if you compare right and left ventricle, the left ventricle has thickest wall. Why? Because it has to push the blood to the remotest part of the body, such as your toes of the feet. That is why the left ventricle has a thickest wall as compared to right ventricle. right? Let's talk about the valve. Valves are actually just like doors which open only one side, right? There are main four valves are present in the heart. That is your first, your tricuspid valve, which is present between right auricle and right ventricle. Bicuspid or mitral valve is present between left auricle and left ventricle. And your aortic valve is present between where aorta, at the beginning of aorta, and pulmonic valve is present at the beginning of pulmonary vein. So what is the function of tricuspid valve? It prevent backward flow of blood from right ventricle to right auricle. The same way mitral valve or bicuspid valve prevent backward flow of blood from left ventricle to left auricle. Okay, let's discuss the blood vessels which are entering the heart. In right atrium, there are main two blood vessels which are entering into the right atrium. That is your superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. Superior vena cava bring blood from the upper part of the body. And what type of blood they bring? They bring deoxygenated blood. The same way inferior vena cava bring blood from lower parts of the body. And which type of blood? That is your deoxygenated blood. Now then from right atrium, this blood comes in right ventricle. Then from right ventricle, okay, now next is your left atrium. In left atrium, the blood vessels which enter into the left atrium, these are your pulmonary vein, which bring blood from the lungs, and that blood is oxygenated blood because it comes from the lungs and after oxygenation. So they are main So in right atrium, two blood vessels are there. That is your right superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. And left atrium, which blood vessels enter? These are pulmonary vein. Now come to right ventricle. From now next is the blood vessels which leaves the heart. Now in the blood vessels which leaves the heart, that is your first pulmonary artery. Actually the right ventricle opens into pulmonary artery, right? And left ventricle opens into aorta. Now just try to how the blood comes. Superior vena cava bring blood from upper part of the body, that is your deoxygenated blood, and inferior vena cava bring blood from the lower part of the body. Now then this blood comes to right ventricle. From right ventricle it goes through pulmonary artery to lungs. For what? For oxygenation of the blood. Now to purify the blood. Then from pulmonary artery it goes to lungs. Then from lungs, after purification, it comes into left atrium through pulmonary vein. Then from left atrium, this pure blood or oxygenated blood comes to left ventricle. Then from left ventricle, it goes to aorta, and through aorta it reach to each and every part of the body. Right? In this way, what's happened? The blood is supplied by the aorta to different parts of the body. Right? In this way, this oxygenated blood is supplied to different parts of the body, and then all deoxygenated blood is recollected by the superior and inferior vena cava, and then this blood again come to right atrium. Then from right atrium it comes to right ventricle, and then from right ventricle it goes through to lungs through pulmonary artery. So pulmonary artery is the only artery which supply impure or deoxygenated blood, while pulmonary vein is the only vein which carry oxygenated blood. Okay, now again just look at this tricuspid and bicuspid valve. The opening of right auricle and right ventricle is guarded by three leaf-like flaps, what they are called tricuspid valve. Now one margin of this valve is fused with the aperture, whereas the free margins are attached with whitish thread-like chordae tendineae. Actually this is not labeled in this diagram, but look at your figure number 7.6 in your book. Here this it is labeling, that is your chordae tendineae. These chordae tendineae, they arise from muscular projection which are called papillary muscles. The same way the opening of left auricle and left ventricle is guarded by two leaf-like flaps, what they are called bicuspid or mitral valve. And the free margins of the bicuspid valve are again attached with the chordae tendineae. And what is the function of these chordae tendineae? They holds the flaps of valves in position and prevent their overturning into the auricles, so that the blood doesn't flow back into the auricles from ventricles. Just okay. Thank you, children.